We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Cosmom09 Rachel Burt, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko.fi.com/punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And hey, bitches, we're back from the camp. How's everybody feeling right now?
I'm sick.
Amazing.
Great. All right, let's go live on Instagram too. Why not? Sure.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Mitchell.
Hello, Ben.
Hey, Takira.
Hey, Mitchell.
Oh my God,
Hey,
Benjamin
Mitchie.
Scottford from
Yes,
From
Benjamin Scottford is
Just
here.
Keep Walking podcast. I think, because I haven't seen any of your videos in slash podcasts in a long time, my friend down under.
Oh my gosh,
We missed you.
there's so much happening already.
Yes, we had fun at the camp.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
sir.
Too much fun. Too much fun was had, and we're all still recovering.
Is there so much? Is there such thing as too much fun?
Dennis
Yes,
told me,
I had it. Yeah.
Dennis told me today, he's like, the first 2 days after you come back from these things, you're not worth the shit. I was like, accurate.
Hey, Karen on Karen Elaine on
Missing stuff.
Instagram.
Hey, Emily.
Missing
Emily.
everything.
Emily's Doodles on.
Emily.
Hey,
Missing
Bridget.
everything.
God damn it. She's here. You should use your words, you fuck. Anyway, hi, everybody. I'm very mean today.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. You know what? You guys do the show. Let me just turn my camera off and then you guys keep going. Anyway, we're here to talk
That was an
about
episode.
Fear the Walking Dead's third episode of its 8th and final season titled Odessa. Odessa Sanderson.
Lois.
In case you forgot. Hey, Lois Martin. Takira. Let's just say names. Anyway, so we're here live actually with you. In case you hadn't noticed, which is not something we usually do, but in the interest of expediency, we wanted to get on live with you to talk about this episode. Maybe even talk some shit, but hopefully not too much shit because people want to go to sleep. These ladies are sick, most of them, except for Bridget and me, which is probably the curse of death because I just put it on Bridget and me, and now we're going to get sick.
Thanks.
High five, Bridget. You're on this
to
side.
be fair, Bridget was sick like every week leading up to camp, so I feel like this is like
True.
her.
She got
her
it out of the way.
reprieve. She had already
Finally.
built up a tolerance to all whatever the heck was going around.
My
so,
redemption finally
yeah.
came.
So, Charity, actually, what is behind you right now? I see open inside.
That is the banner that was hanging up at the That's My Viewing party up in the rafters. When they were leaving, they took it down and gave it to me, and so I'm using it as my backdrop. It
I
says
didn't know
"Don't
that.
Dead" open inside, and then TWD at the bottom. But it's really big, so like it doesn't. I had to.
So you really can't see
all of it,
anything.
but-
Yeah, all the
You can
But
all
yeah,
see-
the,
it does say
in.
"Don't Dead" open inside on it.
yeah, all the audience can see is N
Side.
side
Yeah.
because your head. Anyway, oh my God, Takira says, "Oh my God, Sanderson is my maiden name." Well, I guess you have a long lost cousin. Probably not. Just
Oh, sorry.
by the size of things. So, yeah, see, just forgive us. Most of us are tired. Well, actually, we're all kind of tired. Hey, we're all kind of recovering from the camp. Speaking of the camp, well, we came back from it. We said a lot of regrettable things. I'm including everybody in my moonshine debacle. Because everyone suffered.
I don't know about you, but I was hilarious. So
I think I was a little hilarious too, but regrets are made. I think regrets were forged that night, as well as many backflips. I think
fodder.
somersaults.
Yeah, why are you
should have had
flipping everywhere?
We should have had Elvis sing "Regrets." I've had a few.
I've had a few. Anyway, yeah. So all right. So about this episode, I don't know. What do we? There's something I did want to say at the top, and I can't remember what it was. But so let's keep going, I guess. But I do want to say I enjoyed spending a lot of time with you at the camp. All of you who are in the chat. Well, most of you. Well, half of you. Maybe one of you. Mitchell's there, I think, right?
I want to say how much I enjoyed David's costumes this year.
Oh,
Yes.
He went
really?
all out, and I loved
Oh yeah, I'm
Your
gonna talk.
costumes
I'm gonna
made
talk
me
about one of your
so
costumes
happy.
later. I'm gonna talk about it later.
It made me, yeah, it
Ho-
made me
hold-
so happy.
Hold that thought, because I was thinking to myself before we got on here that maybe we should do a separate live on all the comings and goings of the camp, maybe invite a few of our
We
friends
did
who
that
were there.
last time. We did a whole episode on covering the camp. We should hold on to these thoughts and do that.
Yeah, we did
You
that
know,
in the very first Camp
a
Merrimack
different
too.
night.
I think.
Well, I want to say
Well, I
one
wasn't there
thing
for
about
that
the
one.
camp, and then I'll stop.
Okay.
I finally got to meet Lois, and I
We
was
all
so
did.
happy.
Whom I
was
also
just
met
so
the first
happy.
camp.
Lois. That was awesome.
That was a great surprise.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the only thing that I do want to mention.
Okay, then we're
there's
moving
only
on
the
now.
one thing.
We're moving on.
Will eventually post. You can see this on Rachel's Instagram, Cosmom09 on Instagram. She revealed prematurely. I really wanted to do a big reveal with a high res image, but she couldn't contain herself, and I don't blame her at all because it's pretty awesome. Lisa had commissioned.
Public thanks needed to be made.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, gratitude just sometimes explodes from our lips.
Yeah.
Lisa commissioned Kirk Manley. Oh, maybe I can make that bigger.
There it is.
Kirk Manley to do a rendering of us, a comic style panel of the Squawking Dead core crew, and it is up on the screen now. Let me just go to our Riverside and make Bridget bigger.
Tilt it back a little.
There you go.
Maybe or forward. Maybe forward
And
or back.
she commissioned Kirk to do this, and Kirk basically, we gave Eliza a bunch of photos for him to draw inspiration from, full body, headshots, etc. And this is what he came up with. I look incredible, probably at
David,
my best weight.
You look
Dave
good.
looks better than every single one of us in this.
Yes.
I wouldn't say
David
that,
has
Bridget.
this,
You look
like,
amazing.
Crazy, David has this crazy bedroom face going on. Like,
Okay,
who is that dude?
Rachel, you look a badass. Like you're like all Sarah Connoring it up into that shit, man.
Dude, Sharon, you look pretty
patch, though,
bad fucking
your
ass
patch
too.
is awesome.
I do love my patch. My patch says Jenna's gang, so
You look like you're a Ghostbuster.
I do. I felt like a Ghostbuster in it.
You look like a
But
Ghostbuster.
But don't call me. Call Dave.
Right. Don't. Can you help me with my computer?
I'm trying to kill Rachel and Dave in this for some reason.
Right, exactly. Bridget has two knives behind
Because
her back.
you're trying to get away with the Declaration of Independence.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what we talked about.
Gotta get the Declaration of Independence. That was a killer end to that reveal.
No,
Anyway, so there is a video up on Rachel's Instagram that explains all these inside jokes, but also our reaction to receiving this. So at least mine and Bridget's, because you guys had seen it already, right, Rachel?
Elisa couldn't keep it. Yeah, she told us ahead of time she couldn't keep it in. So I actually have some of the before it was colored. I have a print from before it was not a print, but I have a picture from before it was colored in, and before they finished all the details because Elisa couldn't keep it in. She kept sending me pictures.
I missed what Ben said.
She held off with me for a little while.
Oh, okay. So we will put up a high res. We'll put up the video. I'll probably put up more edited, shorter video of the reaction video, and then just tie it all together in one video. But can somebody scroll up and say what Ben said? Yeah.
Ben says everyone is fighting zombies, and Dave is posing for the camera.
Yeah. As my friend used to say, I have that Scotch and sofa smile.
Oh, okay.
Accurate.
Whatever that means.
Well, he said in the interest of
That sounds
positivity, and I
really,
missed that.
Inappropriate.
Oh, he said,
he was talking about
in the
his
name of
name.
positivity,
Oh,
I
the-
thought
yeah,
this.
the
I thought this episode and season 8 so far had great visuals. The cinematography is really nice, and the Walker effects and VFX in general have been really good. I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
the end shot of this episode
except
is
for
really
the
except
head.
this CGI head. Other than
Except the CGI
that,
head.
other than that, yes, things are green.
I think
Ben.
that was partial
one?
green
Things are
screen
green.
too, by the way, with the eyes and everything.
I think you're actually going to be pretty surprised with what I have to say about this episode. I just rewatched it before we got on here.
Same here.
Because I couldn't hear anything
Same.
in the
Hey,
hotel
Chris
room.
Gonzalez, by the way.
It was fun watching it in the hotel room, though. It was that. I wish we could do
fun.
that all the time.
So wait, yeah,
With better volume.
that is one of the things I wanted to say too. Yeah, is that we watched most of us had finally watched the episode the very last hour of the camp. Well, it wasn't the hour of the camp. Last hour of the night before we had to go to bed, before we had to leave the next day. Sharon had already watched it. I don't know if anybody else had though, but it was
Aiden had.
I didn't.
okay. a bunch of us had gotten together, watched it, and I was surprised that we actually were as animated as we were, too. Just talking.
I
Just,
felt like we were pissing you off. Like at a
I
certain
was a
point-
little pissed off at one
She's
point.
like, shush, I'm trying to watch the episode.
Guys,
You guys are talking.
I'm missing some words. You didn't think I'd be that like annoyed, right? But I feel like I did this
I
with
could hear it. You were being so kind, but I knew how pissed off you were.
I was like, I literally said, oh, look, Eliza Jones is in the chat. It was so much fun. She said, Jenna Rose, hi,
hey.
season 8. Love season 8.
Oh, Eliza. We miss you.
Hey, Eliza.
Eliza. Not Eliza.
Hey, Eliza.
Eliza.
And also Jones. At least on-
Eliza
It's
Jones,
confusing.
but not
Eliza.
not the other
Eliza.
one.
I'm so
Eliza.
sorry. Hi, Eliza.
British Eliza. No, I'm kidding.
It's
British
confusing.
Eliza.
Good old prickly tits.
Eliza Standard Time, Eliza Standard. Anyway, this is very confusing for the audience.
Why didn't you just
But
say
she
that?
was
I
there
would've
with
known
us.
Right away.
Yeah.
Hey,
Shawnee would know who prickly tits is.
prick-
David's like,
right, we'll just call her Prickly Tits. That's
say
right.
that.
Oh, if you know, you know. Anyway, let's not do that, actually. But hey, Lisa, what's up?
Moving on.
Oh no.
Jenna Rose says, I watched episode 3 last Friday. AMC Plus is so worth the dollar buckets. Dollar buckets? Dollar bag of dollars. Anyways, miss you guys. Miss you too, Eliza. Fuck.
See? It's hard.
Damn it. We were just talking about Eliza. That's why it's a little confusing. Anyway, so, okay. So, yes, we watched the episode together. I think there was some mixed reactions, and there was quite a... Some of the reactions were explosive. Some of them were not. Some of them was just spawned conversation, which I promptly shushed because I was so annoyed.
David's like, shut up. Don't talk about it now.
I remember it clearly, too. I'm like... Shh. And everybody was kind of like surprised. I'm not usually this, anal.
There was definitely that moment. I remember.
Yeah. Well, I grew up with sisters too, so like I think that kind of sparked like fighting over the television, and me being super patient. And
It's my time. Shut up.
it's exactly, guys. I got here first, so I'm in charge of the television. That was the rule. But I was benevolent, brother. I would let them watch what they wanted to watch if they.
It's
wanted
my
to watch.
tiny
But still-
15-inch computer screen that you're all watching. That you're all crammed around watching.
That the sound can't go higher than it already
7.
is. So, all right, let's get into this episode, and we will start
Axe
by.
Takira.
Well, let me see what everybody says. I want to see Annoyed Dave. Oh, Takira, you missed it. Sorry. It was cool getting back. Sorry, brother, sister.
Kira.
Walking Dead Eternal. Thank you.
Right?
So
I
Emily,
was not actually for once.
Emily says this season so far keeps giving us whiplash from the ups and downs. We'll definitely get into that. Oh my God, me too. Emily Takira says. Ryan Stewart says, "How do you think Morgan gets to Atlanta in the next episode? How do you think they get back?" We might
Gonna
talk.
run just like he did to Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
He ran
He's
ever
gonna
since the
run his
last
little
episode.
heart out.
Exactly. Same way he got to Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, he's been running since the last episode.
Christopher Gonzalez says Morgan teleports, of course. God, yeah, of course. Eventually, he goes 88 miles per hour and just gets there. Plus, everyone's probably
It's a
drunk.
DeLorean Zodiac boat.
Right, exactly. Or boots. Chris is just like he's been doing season 4. Jaden says, I really enjoyed this episode. Hey, Jaden Lalonde on Twitter. Ryan Silver says, haha, great. Okay, so let's get into first impressions. And we'll start with Sharon because you've been holding this episode in your brain for quite a while. And I'm actually curious to see where you landed because you never know.
So, it was better than 801, but not as good as 802.
Obviously.
And that there was parts that I'm just like, I mean, there's some parts that are just so bad. It's just, this doesn't make any sense. I know we're going to get to it eventually, but to me, it's like June and Daniel are the only two fucking people on the show that make any sense at all. They're blaming, please, this show making me defend Madison, for God's sake. It is not Madison's fault that Ava died.
I heard that
She was-
actually.
She
when we
was
were
trying to
watching.
get because she was trying to get you back, Padre. Yes, because Padre took her. It's Padre's fault she's dead. If anybody, the right is just it's dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
there's some
but it doesn't
inconsistencies
make
with
any
that, yeah.
sense. There's so many inconsistencies. I mean, it just annoyed me because I was sitting there the whole time like, what are you talking about? It is not. It is not Madison's fault.
Wait, keep going,
Stop.
keep going. No, don't stop, don't stop. So,
So, but I
Did
but
you
I mean,
notice,
I did
did
like
you
it. Like it
notice that
made me laugh.
Madison feels responsible too, though? Like,
wait,
she
say that
didn't
again,
argue
Rachel.
that.
You were.
I said, did you notice Madison does feel responsible? She didn't argue that point. She's just like, well, yeah, it's my fault. Wah, wah.
I know, which made me mad too because
Okay,
I'm like,
Morgan.
it is not just and like it strikes like it's June. It's your fault that he got bit. No, you fucking let him get bit.
Mhm.
How is that June's fault? Like, stop! It's just doesn't make any sense.
Well,
Like,
that to me made more
It's
sense.
just bad. It's
She-
just bad.
I can see why Shrike would say this. I'd say anything to keep this project going. Meaning, if I have to put the
Well, I
blame
mean,
on somebody else.
I see why she's saying it, but it just as an audience member, I don't know. This is not your the writing is just bad. I'm sorry, it's just bad. But I did like parts of it. I loved Daniel in the cup when he came walking out with the cup.
The
That just
yerba
cracked
mate.
me up. Yeah. And I mean, I liked a lot of it. I thought it was most of it was really good. It was just the parts that were just ridiculous. Like that, just better, please. It was just ridiculous.
Right.
Like them running off and getting lost in the Padre maze of things, and they're like, she's like, follow my voice.
The
And,
shipping
like, he's-
containers.
sorry.
Okay.
What? Why he wasn't? He well,
He's
you
not
don't even
looking
know
for
where you
you.
are.
That part did make me laugh.
I remember
Follow my
someone in the room yelling, "He's not looking for you."
Yeah, that's right.
That was
Was it?
me.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Eliza.
So I mean, on first impressions, I liked it. Like I didn't hate it, but parts of it really annoyed me.
It does remind
Especially
me.
especially the part where they made me defend Madison. That really, really
I
annoyed me.
think that's a problem that you have to work out on your own. But I did notice that there was some of that. Some of that was reflective of the first episode where things were just flip flopping in a sense. Like, are you with me? You're not with me. Like Dove, right? She's with me. She's not with me. Then she wants to kill me. Madison, I'm Madison this man. Then she's like, no, we're gonna deal with her like we did with Finch, essentially. So, and
Oh, Finch looks super, super good for still being in recovery and having just been bitten. Like the kid looks like
And underwent
like
surgery.
yeah,
right. He looks totally
And
good.
radiation treatment.
Right.
Yeah.
No radiation source. Man, he's totally fine. No. Like June, you're a fucking miracle worker. I mean, I'm down with that, but he just looked really, really good for someone who just went through radiation therapy.
Rachel, can you get closer to your mic too? You sound a little far away. Or I don't know, point it closer.
I did just move it closer.
Okay.
It's still not good enough.
On the note of what you just said, Andrew, I have to get the article up, but Ian Goldberger and or Andrew Chambliss had said something about
Goldberger.
the treatment that was given to Finch, and that was essentially boiled down to, and I will put the article in our blog for reference of that interview, but he had said something to the effect of, it's not a cure, the radiation treatment, let's say, but it is the equivalent of when somebody needs to amputate their arm. If you can isolate the radiation to the affected area, it's literally stops the infection. Now, does that mean they won't have long-term effects? No, possibly not. Maybe not. They didn't get that far in, but it is that. It's not a cure. It is a treatment akin to amputating a limb.
Well,
let's
cool.
say.
I'm really glad they're experimenting on children. That's awesome.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Well, so like last week they went through the express motions of telling us how dangerous it was and how much worse the treatment was than the bites. But like all of a sudden June, we're sure you can do it, and then the very next patient is totally fine.
I am skeptical. I want to see what the mechanics are of what's involved here and what the effects are also. I mean, there's no go ahead.
June's
I'll
a
reiterate
miracle
what I
worker.
said last time. I do not appreciate the show writers putting me in a position to root for a child's death because I'm so anti this cure crap. Like, thank you, writers. I'm so glad. I'm like, Finch must die. Like, this is so stupid.
Finch.
Why would you do this to me?
I mean, June is a miracle. You go, June. You saved humanity.
Well,
One experiment after you said you would never do it again. So,
I mean, if it could be done right away,
but I'm
similar to a
wondering if
limb.
because
One train.
they also
away.
talked about because Madison was like, could it be um r- something
Hereditary?
genetic? So I'm hereditary.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm
There's
wondering if they're gonna lean that way too. But like maybe we have two cures, like Madison and Alicia have their own hereditary cure, and then we have the radiation cure that just cured Finch.
right. They were saying how the
Well,
blood is involved.
Do we also need to remember that not Christine, Sherry was pregnant, and lived like breathing radiation, like she was in the radiation while she was pregnant. So Finch had all this stuff going on in the womb. So I
Should be like Spider-Man
might
if
have-
we come out a superhero
Right.
with radiation powers.
Red kite, Starling, I can climb
he
walls. Why am I dying? Anywho. Mommy, Daddy, I mean Finch, Red Kite. I'm coughing blood. Oh, David Carranza, hi. What's up, buddy?
Randy.
I mean, a lot of complaints, including Thomas. Dave is so short. I think it's a complaint.
It's a complaint.
It's a statement.
Yeah, Takira says it's pissing her.
Christopher Gonzalez says, Takira Madison to me has been one of the only ones making any logical sense this season, except when she said Morgan was the leader the resistance needed.
That's right. That's right. We'll get to that
It's gonna be
too. Christopher definitely is rooting, I think, for Danielle to be the leader, the commander that we all deserve. Takira says, "Oh yes, she's."
I'll tell you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I was gonna just say, "Oh yeah, she's the only one using her brain somehow this season, and no one wants to listen to her." And the resistance already has a leader. They need.
Hey, Heather.
Oh, Heather Jenks. Hi guys. I'm way behind on fear, but still wanted to come on for a minute. Even though I have no idea what's going on, I love listening to you all talk about it.
no.
Yay!
Aw.
Hey Heather.
I like Emily's idea.
Thomas.
Emily says this is entirely random, but there should be a drinking game for every time a character mentions the 7-year time skip. Which actually Bridget said in a couple episodes ago was kind of necessary because in our heads, I mean, we're kind of still in that like what. It just happened. Madison Morgan going to the island just happened. So
I'm
it's good to
actually
have that reference.
appreciative of the reminders because to us, like the 7B just happened. I personally do need the reminder. Although drinking game would just be funny.
Yeah. Every time Dave gets reactive about you guys making fun of Morgan, everybody drinks. Except for Dave. Dave has moonshine.
Every time Dave says, shh.
Well, what about you guys? Rachel, what is your general impression? Anything else to add to that, basically? Because I think you have similar complaints, strengths.
Yeah, I actually did enjoy the episode as a whole. I liked that we got some more information. The flashback scenes were a little
To 12 years ago, you mean?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were a little
Hokey?
yeah, that might be a good way to I think that might be a good but it was interesting to see, little baby Shrike. It was very cute.
Baby Sam? Sam
I especially
Krennic.
I especially appreciated how calm and collected their dad was while he was being eaten alive.
Right. Talk about stoicism. Like he was like,
Right?
just
He's
keep
like,
it going. No
Keep
screaming.
it going. Never
love
forget
you,
me.
He's like the equivalent of the monks that set themselves on fire. Like he just didn't
Tibetan.
he didn't move or
What? Why would they do that?
Why would they do what? Set themselves
Why
on
would
fire?
they set themselves on fire?
In protest.
Protest.
They're anti-violence. So they
Did they die? What?
committed to
Yes.
themselves.
They die. Yes.
Mm.
Who is that helping? You get to protest once.
Well, in the hopes that it moves hearts and minds to the cause and people listen.
But
I don't
you
agree
don't-
with it.
You'll never know.
Well,
Wow.
the
Anyway.
rest of them will know. Yeah. So. Oh, they lost us
Hmm.
on Insta. Okay. Oh, I
Emily
guess they
said-
lost us.
Emily says the haircuts are tragic too.
We like,
That's
yeah, we
Bridget.
like to call Shrike haircut.
Yeah.
Haircut.
Well, what about you, Bridget?
What about me? So
I don't have the head for this.
I thought it was an okay episode. It wasn't super great. There were some really weird choices in it. But there were some pretty enjoyable parts, so I feel pretty meh about it, I guess. I was super stoked because I got to see Daniel. That was top notch. So I was really excited about that.
If I'm not
And-
mistaken, your favorite character on Fear the Walking Dead, which
Yes.
that's one of the episodes I think we need to air, or is it this saddest moments? I can't remember now because.
We have
Anyway.
saddest moments and favorite moments coming
All right.
up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Favorite moments, saddest moments, and we had our favorite characters episode. That's right.
Moments, David. Not
Moments,
episodes.
Moments.
David.
Moments.
I didn't say episode. Not this time. Okay, so sorry. Continue, Bridget.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Daniel. Again, same kind of points that were brought up that were weird. Like the flashbacks are a little hokey. The scene with the dad dying is completely unreal. Like just what is happening? No one would stand there and not make a single sound about dying. I'm sorry. I don't care how badass you are. It's not gonna happen.
Maybe the
I-
walkers were super gentle.
Just some nice little
Just
nice
some nice little
nibblers.
nibbles.
I don't know. I thought the end of the episode was a really cool setup for future episodes. I'm like happy about that. But I don't know. I don't know where I'm sitting on this.
Yeah, this is kind of more.
I'm on the fence.
By the end of this episode, it's more of like a wait and see because there's a lot of things we
Yeah.
don't know how to feel about by the end of this episode. I don't think. Well, can
Well,
we?
because you think you're gonna get some big reveals and you're not. Oh, by the way, suck it, Troy lovers. Ha ha!
That's our Victor laugh, apparently. Yes, Troy is not Padre, but yeah, but we're still gonna have to talk about it, unfortunately.
Neither is Tobias, and I'm super sad about
Thank God.
I
You know
mean,
what
I
else?
wish it-
wanted it
I
to
wish
be
it was Tobias.
I want to
I
say something
really
about
do.
that though. Walker Wynn had just posted a Fear the Walking Dead dedication, final season dedication poster, and she even goes as far as to mention Alex and show like a silhouette of Alex. No Tobias.
know.
No Tobias.
I know.
Love it. Love it.
What?
She didn't even include Griselda.
I think Griselda is in
What?
there.
No,
Oh,
she's
okay.
not.
Well,
I
she's also not a
looked.
main player.
But she was one of the main. She was one of the first characters, David.
David. I don't care really. It's fine.
Anyway,
She just showed Griselda's stump. That's the end here. No face, just the stump. Sad.
No.
Am I mean? Is that happening?
The pile of ashes.
Maybe that too. Sure. Griselda, like a little smoke coming from
Thank you.
the pile.
Thank you.
anyway, I don't mean to hate.
Mitchell is
I don't mean to
Tobias,
hate at all because it was a very beautiful poster. So
Mitchell says, "Stop the Tobias." Hey, nah. Fuck Tobias. Fuck Tobias.
no,
in his
I love
fucking
Tobias.
face.
I love Tobias. Dave is stupid.
I'm entitled to my opinion.
David, here's why you're wrong. Okay, Tobias called the entire apocalypse right before it began.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
what made him
prepared
fucking
for this
dumb.
Shit. Tobias is amazing.
Yeah,
No,
that's the
Tobias
ir-
is me, Dave. I'm Tobias.
Yeah, and we know all of us would be dead meat, and so was Tobias.
no, I would be alive. I'd be alive,
him
and you'd
living
be
the
dead
high life
meat.
somewhere.
Because you'd be trying to get into my house, and I'd be like, pew pew, get out of here, boy. There
You'd be
you
like,
go.
kinda
I'm
like,
all right. I'm okay.
Boy.
I'm also dead. I'm also man enough to admit that I'm dead. So
went
dead.
off the rails really quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Emily says Tobias.
I don't
is
know what
mid.
just happened. I don't know what
Takira's
just
like,
happened.
Tobias is so alive. What if Tobias is Madison Thomas? Okay, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. Anyway.
I
Okay.
would too, because that means Madison's actually dead, and it's been Tobias the whole time. I am down.
Tobias.
So I want to go to the meat of this episode, because by the end of it, even Madison wavers when Shrike says, "Why don't you go ahead and tell them the truth?" And she just stays silent. And I know a lot of that has to do with perhaps agreeing, because from that point, it goes straight to June saying, "What were Alicia and Nick like when I went away?" And Christopher Gonzalez rightfully points out that June doesn't know how Nick was after the diamond, because he had died shortly thereafter. But
but she was around Morgan and John, who were around Nick,
and they could tell him
who could have told her what was going on.
Right. And so by the end of it, she knows exactly what it's like to lose children. And so there's like, you're looking at two different sides of a mirror. And it's not easy for someone like Madison, let's say, who doesn't often regret decisions, have to finally regret decisions. You know,
Yeah, because she's really she's always been like really self-destructive.
Well, but more like stubborn. Like, my way is the highway, sort of stubborn. Like,
yeah, that can be incredibly self-destructive.
Yeah, no, agreed.
It's not a great trait.
100%.
It's not a great trait.
It's like a Rickism. It's like Rick is somewhat the same way. I've always said this. So by the end of this episode, the one important question I do want to ask is, in a sense, even though Sam and Ben, their motivations to continue Padre in their own twisted way. I mean, even the showrunners say it in the Insider episode or Insider, they say Padre had benevolent beginnings that became perverted. But in a sense, do you guys somewhat agree? I mean, forget about the means and some of the real key decisions that make us want to hate these two. In a sense, do you kind of agree? Because one of the things that I thought of was Charity and Rachel, you've said this more than anybody else, is that they should be like Judith's and not Gracie's. And that maybe there is something to what they're trying to do. Maybe until there is such a time as a cure or a therapy or something that can unite parents and children.
No, there's absolutely...
You want Judith and Gracie, but you don't want to why take them away from their parents to do that?
Maybe that's the only way.
There's absolutely one moment that really pissed me off is when Shrike was explaining the lie, right? Oh, we knew that if we told the kids their parents had died, it would break them. So instead, we told them that their parents abandoned them? That's so much worse.
Right.
That is so much worse.
Then you're just making the kids feel like my parents didn't want me enough to fight for me. At least if they died, they were dying for their kids.
It wasn't a choice.
It wasn't like, oh, my parents just left me because they didn't want me. I mean, talk about breaking the spirit of kids. I mean, why would you? That's the totally wrong way to go about it. I mean, I get they wanted to save kids from the pain of losing a parent, but they're still losing a parent, and they're losing their own feelings too.
Yeah. Bridget, you're notoriously silent. You're suspiciously silent. I want to hone in on the silence.
Okay, I'm surprised I'm going to say this out loud right now. Actually,
I had a feeling.
I'm shook. I'm shooketh. I cannot deny. I'm going to sound so hippy dippy right now. This is so stupid. I cannot deny their lived experience.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay.
Kill me. Okay.
Who's the Sam and Ben?
Sam, yeah. Because I can't deny that they think they're doing the right thing, honestly. Now, you have to think of it this way. How old are they supposed to be at the beginning of this?
Teenagers?
15, 16, they're teens, right?
Yeah.
So they're teens.
15 and 17.
They're teens and they lose their dad because he was too busy protecting them rather than equipping them. Okay? That's the gist of what happened.
Right. Which is hence their reactions in the containers and the maze. Follow the sound of my voice. Ben utterly freaking out. They've never seen the dead before.
Yeah. But we have to think like if that's what they lived through at a young age, their brains are going to be like totally jacked, right? Like that's the only experience they know. So they don't know anything other than that exact experience. I can only rely on my sibling, which is so dumb because your sibling got you into this. So literally the only person you can't rely on is your stupid brother. But okay.
But they're family,
He
so
he
you do
literally
it
got your dad
anyway.
killed. If anyone's gonna blame anyone for anyone's death, it should be Shrike blaming Crane for her dad's death. Because what was that guy doing? Really over some binoculars though? So dumb.
Right, but that's some pre-apocalypse logic, right? You don't know the
That's
dead,
some dum dums logic.
but you
I'm
don't know the
sorry.
dead. You don't know
No,
what they're capable of.
but if my mom was like, okay, like if I grew up with a single parent, my mom was like, you better stay in this boat because something really bad could happen if you get out here. And also, my mom would have been like, also, I'm gonna whoop your ass if you leave here. And guess what I would have done? I
Stayed
would
on
have
the damn
stayed
boat.
in the freaking boat.
So you're saying their dad should have resorted to physical violence on their kids on the regular basis?
Yes. Yes.
But he didn't, so now it makes
Worked
sense.
for us growing
There we
up.
go.
Anyway, so I don't get it because logically it doesn't make any sense. But I'm using like my own logic from my own lived experience.
Right. So I could see why they would want to do what they did at the end. They're transferring their own traumatic experience.
Yes.
They're projecting.
Now, it doesn't really make any sense the way that they're projecting, but okay. It's what they're doing.
They're doing it so that the kids don't have to feel that pain and they don't have to. They're taking on the
Yeah,
burdens.
but I'm like, I side with everybody. Like, that is way worse to be told that your parent was like, well, I'm out. I went to go get a pack of cigarettes and I never came back. Like that's way worse than someone being like, I'm so sorry, but your parents died trying to fight for this. Like, wouldn't that be like, okay, yeah, that's heartbreaking, but at least you know that they loved you. Now instead you're left with
My
wow, my parents hated me so much they left me.
my parents didn't care enough. They thought I was a burden. They just left me and let somebody else take me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think doing that was more of like
Because they're not.
was more of
I'm
like
sorry, they're
anger
not all
motivating
gonna-
them.
I'm so sorry. They're not all gonna see like Ren did, right? Because Ren was when she told Morgan letting me go was the right decision at that time, but keeping me out, keeping me away from Padre now is the right time. But not all kids are gonna have that point of view. They're not gonna think you were trying to. That my parents were trying to help me. They're just gonna think my parents abandoned me, left me behind.
Right. Well, and see, that's the thing. I do think that the anger of being abandoned is a good motivator for the kids in a sense of they feel rejected by the people that were supposed to love them the most. A, but B, what do they know? So there's that factor as well. And so, hey, we can only rely on each other. We're the new family. We are a new family, and everybody else is bullshit. Parents are bullshit, let's say. So I can see that, and of course, from their point of view, they felt like that was the right thing to do. It's not like I disagree with you, but if you look at their story and you see it through their lens, their lens of trauma, of course, it makes sense to them, right? It's not about what makes logical sense to us.
Yeah, I get
Right?
that. It doesn't make me any less angry.
Sure, it's supposed to make you angry.
Because that's really
guess I
dumb.
wouldn't
Because
have-
it's just really dumb.
I wouldn't even have thought that. I'd have just been like, your parents died. Like, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna create this lie so that I can turn you into my little soldiers. Like, I would tell them the truth and then still teach them how to fight and prepare. I would be probably doing everything the same. Well, I'm not kidnapping children, but I'm saying like preparing the kids who did lose their parents without having to lie about it.
I mean, also, so they said that they didn't take adults because adults wouldn't go along. Because they were like, why do you take them away from their parents? Why don't you just bring them all in? And they say, well, we don't, because the grown-ups won't do what we want them to. They'll want to do it their own way.
Right.
But yet they are bringing in grown-ups because Sherry and Dwight were both there. So
Mhm.
why go through the extra agony of separating. If you're gonna, and I'm sure they're not the only ones. They're the only parents that they've brought on. I mean, they brought on Morgan and Grace too. So like I don't
Well, if you look at the intake
why
I
forms
guess
for both the
I
children, I mean, so when they open up Odessa's form, they do a whole psyche eval. One of the points that they did check off in her intake sheet was that she had insomnia. And so what I'm guessing is that, and it's also been mentioned by Daniel also, in that he's old and useless, and so they dumped him in a swamp. But essentially, they do a psyche eval, they do a full health workup, etc., to determine whether these people are going to be pliable to Padre's mission. And it's possible that because Dwight and Sherry were like completely on board with separating Finch from them, and being reassigned to different locations, and probably after time there was a little bit of crossover where Red Kite could be in the same classroom with Finch without causing any trouble, and it bore out, that maybe that was like the only condition that they would allow that sort of thing to happen, where they were their own names, their call signs. Finch was his own call sign, and that was the way it was going to be. And they didn't even name the kid. The Padre named their kid, so and they didn't throw any hissy fit over it. So I guess they were on board, and so was the kid.
I hope we find out that Finch's real name is John.
Me too. Me too. As we said in the last one. Any chance of a watch party, Alania says. Well, that's all dead and gone. Of this movie, of this episode? Nah, not really. I don't think so. I know a lot of comments were said.
already watched it.
Takira says every episode has made me angry in one way or another, but this one took the cake. Really? Okay. Were you more angry about this episode than the others, or is it just every episode just blanket general makes me angry? They got stupid people to brainwash all the children, some of their parents. Like, come on now. Christopher Gonzalez says, how does Odessa/Dove not know Ava was her mom? She was supposed to be 7 when she was taken by Madison. I don't think that's how it works. I think she might have been younger. She looks still, I mean, look, there's a trend of older actors playing younger kids. It's quite possible that she's 14, maybe. Yeah, so maybe if it's 7 years later or 8 years later or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, there's a chance that she forgot what her parents' face looks like after 7 years. I don't know. I really don't know.
I know I'm complaining, but I do want to say that I did like the episode overall for the most part. It was just some of it just really bugged me. It felt lazy. It just felt like lazy writing. Like they weren't really trying. I was like, oh, let's just say this. Nobody will argue it. They'll just buy it. No big deal.
I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like they threw a lot at us, and some of it, when you throw that much information, you know what it is, Morgan. It's that you only have so many episodes to tell the tale, right? And so you're throwing so much information at the audience. They did this in the first episode as well, to catch us up and so that we can continue with story, hopefully. I mean, the second episode was emblematic of a story that was told on its own, let the visual storytelling take place, also with the right amount of dialogue to kind of catch us up even further. But this episode was similar to the first episode, I said this before, was that you're throwing a tremendous amount of information, many twists, and a time jump, and expecting everybody to and expecting all the pieces A to line up, but B, for the audience to kind of track all these changes that we're supposed to feel and absorb, essentially. Which is why, we have a hard time buying certain things, I think. Does that make sense to everybody? Because it's a lot of info. There's a lot of going, Shrike is going to help us get on the boat and get on Padre, and then Daniel comes in. Then Daniel comes in again. It takes out the Praetorians, or, it's just... I'm not saying I don't buy it. I'm just saying I get what they're trying to do. I just feel like it's just cramming in a lot of info that can be...
No, I think it's bad writing. I think it's bad writing. I don't think they're trying to do anything. It just seems like bad writing. Like they're trying to get this season out so they can be done with it.
They're not
That's
going
what
back they're not going back and reading what they've already written, and they just keep writing stuff. Like, let's just keep putting it out there. And
you know what? It's like a
game. Any of it lines up.
It's like a game of what is that? And then or whatever.
And then the improv game.
That's
Yeah.
what it's like.
I'm in
like.
it. I'm in it till the end, right? I'm
Well,
gonna
me
be in
too,
it till
yeah.
the
I didn't
end,
think this
but
episode was bad
but
though. Just to kind of go on my
it's-
impression, I just
it's
think
not as bad as they have been.
no, I don't think so either. I don't think it. It's definitely better than I expected, for sure. Ben says, let me just read this before it goes away. Ben says, I was much more angry about this episode, especially how they made such a big deal out of the Padre reveal. I'm Padre's daughter, quote unquote. A few moments later, actually, my brother and I are Padre. Wah!
Are we on Game of Thrones?
We kinda-
Are they like Targaryens?
We kind of already saw that. That's the other thing. I think we all saw that coming too. I don't, maybe not, but did you think that the father, General Krennic, was Padre? Or did you see that one of the kids was Padre?
Dennis and I watched it earlier, and I mean, Dennis is not into it as much as we are, obviously. Dennis and I watched it earlier, and he goes, "The brother is Padre, isn't he?" Like he guessed it the instant he saw it. And Shrike is like, "Oh, I'm Padre's daughter. I'm not a liar. I'm not lying. I'm Padre's daughter. Oh, wait a minute, Padre's my brother." So you
Well,
were lying
Padre's
the
us,
whole
she says at the
time.
end.
You are lying. But
Well,
still
she lied about everything this
She
episode.
lied about
Like,
everything.
To say that she saved Finch, like, you're literally the reason he got bit.
Yep.
Are you for real? You're going to be like, well, I saved his life. After you gave him a reason to need his life being saved. It's so stupid.
After you dropped him on the
I know.
the Grim Reaper's doorstep. Yeah, okay. June saved him, essentially. Okay, they have good. Okay. Christopher Gonzalez says they have good ideas, but they're executing it badly. David Carranza says Odessa was enjoyable, but I felt like filler and exposition. I was okay with that, like what David said. Yeah, I mean that's sort of how I feel about it as well. There were some parts actually. So on my second watch, I did want to say that something about. So when we were watching the watch party, and then I'll get to the thing I felt in second watch. One of the things I said was when you look at the flashback to 12 years ago and you look at General Krennic, Sam Krennic, and Ben Krennic, you're supposed to see sort of a mirror image of the Clark family. I think that's what they were going for in their own kind of weird, twisted way. Now, obviously, Ben didn't have a heroin problem and Sam didn't have she wasn't, well, I don't know. Maybe she was kind of like Alicia in a sense where she was supposed to be emblematic of Shrike, the person who's supposed to do what
she's clearly
she needs to
the
do.
more responsible of the two siblings.
Right.
Which
And Ben clearly wasn't
Well, if
because
it's
he was
a-
supposed to listen to his dad.
If it's a mirror,
Yeah.
if it's a mirror of the Clark family, wouldn't they be the opposite? Isn't that?
Well, mirrors can also be parallel. Like the Clarks in a different situation or a different circumstance in a sense. You're supposed to
said
feel
that
those.
during our watch party. You said it's a mirror, and I said you're right because he's a good dad. And Matt isn't a shitty
Wow.
mom.
But either way, so on second watch, when they do the reveal after Madison breaks the glass, something about it just got me a little emotional too. There was something so sad about their story. And I kind of, for that one brief moment, I kind of connected with why they'd done what they'd done, and I had a bit of sympathy for what they were trying to do. And it doesn't even make a difference until
it's sad, Dave. It's sad and it's pathetic. I mean, they were two kids pretending to be adults to make this whole thing work because they didn't know what else to do.
Well, it's two kids.
Like it's pathetic. I mean, really, like think about that. Like it's two kids pretending to be their dad because they don't know how. It's like it's so. I don't know.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. It's Peter Pan syndrome. It's sort of Peter Pan syndrome. They are children, forever children, who are trying to recreate. What am I about to say? To recreate the circumstances with other children, their own circumstance with other children. We're going to take these kids' parents away and make them like us because we're capable. And so we're going to make them capable. And there is something tremendously pathetic about that. And for an instance, a small moment, I saw them the way I see our protagonists. We're trying to make up. We're trying to make up for things in our past that were horrible, traumatic instances like Morgan and June. And for that one moment until like the end part where they say, yeah, let's just unleash thousands of walkers on these kids. They said it exactly like that. quote me. But until that moment,
Basically,
I saw them like our protagonists, and it really got me. I was literally almost tearing up. And so for like a hot second, of course Madison's not going to do anything. For a hot second, June kind of just goes, "Fuck. Well, what am I supposed to say to all that?" You know, so because what's June? Think of the last episode. Think of what June saw in Adrian. You know, and what she tried to do for Rose, what she tried to do for Hannah, what she tried to do for Finch. And so like it really got me that one moment. And again, good that they kind of said, fuck the kids. We trained them. Let's see what they can do. Like until that moment, I was kind of like, am I on board with them? I know I'm not. It's like the Rick argument. Of course I'm with Rick. But at the same time, you know, it just got me. It got me for a second. So I can't slam the writing too much. The thing is, we always try to get what they're trying to do. We always try to attempt to see what they're trying to do. Like we can nitpick as much as we want. And I don't think this episode was unenjoyable because of some of the faltering in the writing. But did you feel maybe in that instance too, that there was something there that there was a bit of a silent moment there? Did you feel something in that moment?
At the end?
Well, no, not at the very end, but that moment where we are Padre. We did what we had to do, what we felt like we had to do for these children as well.
No.
Well, I think they took a moment to like absorb that information. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a what the fuck in that too.
Well,
sure, that's what made it.
Dave,
for me.
actually I take offense to what you said. I'm not nitpicking.
I don't feel like I'm nitpicking.
I'm not nitpicking. This
I'm not
is not
calling you
good
nitpicks.
writing.
I'm just saying, like we can. That's what we have to do. We have to kind of nitpick these episodes and pick out what sucked and what doesn't suck, and you know.
I think our gripes are legitimate.
Yeah,
I didn't say they
think
weren't.
it's what
what's going
it's
on.
what everybody else is feeling right now, and I hate that. Again, this brings up the whole concept of like I've fought and argued for this show for so long, even when people said it sucked, even in season 6 and 7, even with the crying baby Mo, like I really, wore my heart on my sleeve and fought for this show, and I feel I feel like the writers think I'm dumb.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I want to love this show. Everybody, you all know this show is. I mean, I love this show, and I want to love it. I want to love it, but it's just I find myself
Barely liking it.
just rolling my eyes. Like what is going on? What is going on? I don't understand. It's like they're just not even trying. They'll just write some stuff and let's send it through. Nobody's proofreading it or making sure that any of it makes sense. It's like, okay, we're done. Let's send it out and film it. And God bless the actors. They're doing the best they can with what they have.
They really are. They really, really are.
I mean, I have no complaints about the actors except. But anyway, I'm not gonna say that one. But anyway, block of wood. Anyway, I don't have any complaints about the actors, but what they're given to say on the screen is almost insulting to them.
It's insulting to the actors. It's insulting to us as viewers.
Even last episode, which I loved because of course I loved it. Even then, like Bridget, like I was going back and listening to last week's podcast clips, and you were saying that there were some parts that were weak, and it was things that probably could have been easily fixed if the writers just gave a damn.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to move on because I don't want to. I'm digging my heels in because I'm angry and I don't want to dig my heels in about this anymore. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I've said my piece about the writing and I'm gonna move on now. I want to talk about some things that I liked about this because there's one thing I want to go back to complain about, but I do want to talk about some things that I liked about this, and I have to say the special effects with the last scene was great. Loved that. The
Can you
walkers
describe
look
it?
excellent.
Yeah.
The walkers look
awesome.
excellent. They look excellent in all of the scenes they've been in this episode, actually.
Except for
with the exception of the Adrian the
style.
CGI head, it was so bad. That was so bad. Everything that was not as bad as a deer, but it was like almost as bad as a deer. It's like, yeah, it was bad, Dave. It was
It's not
so
that.
bad
It's
because
not bad.
we're so many years away from that deer.
But it's nothing
That's
close.
why
It's
that's
not
what makes
close
it
to the
bad.
deer. It's not even close. The
That's what makes it
deer
bad.
is so bad.
We're so many years away from that deer. It should be so much better.
Well,
Anyway,
on the note of the head,
moving on.
though, one of the things I reacted. I don't want. We'll go back to what you were saying though, like about the things you like about this episode, but like specifically with the head, because we're here. I had my reaction to that head was, oh my god, it's the dad. Do you agree with
Oh,
that?
no, I'm not talking about that head, Dave. I'm
Are you
talking
talking
about the
about the
head
Adrian
from
head?
the I'm talking about the
Oh,
Adrian head.
what about this
that was
head?
horrible. This head was fine.
We
This
did
head
that
was
in the
fine.
last episode.
You know what? This head was fine. The weird smiley face on the cloth
I like
was it was
Mr.
a,
Oogie
it
Boogie.
was very unusual.
I
Mr.
liked it.
Oogie
I liked that it was
Boogie Man.
creepy.
It made it hard to like focus because it was so funny.
It reminds
But
me of the Black Mirror logo, like the show Black Mirror. For some reason, I was just like, I like it. Why do I like it? And then I remembered.
it's just weird.
Why?
No.
Anyway, sorry, go
I
on.
thought the walkers looked good. Like the couple that we see chasing Crane through the shipping yard.
Oh, yeah, like
looked
the
good.
fresh
And
walkers, right?
yeah, they looked good. And I have to say
Nice
the
throwback.
horde at the end looked great. And I'm excited to get to that, right? Like when we watched the last season of The Walking Dead, we all commented on how walkers had become like frightening again and how that was such an important piece of it because eventually you just hit a point where you're watching a drama that just so happens to have zombies in it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because it becomes more about the drama and less about the horror. And I mean that's fine. I love the show, but I also love horror. So the horror element is what drew me in the first place. So I appreciate that. So seeing a horde of walkers for the first time in a while, it feels like.
Because of COVID, also, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I was excited about it. So that is something I'm looking forward to. The color palette is staying strong, so I'm happy about that. It has not returned to yellow, just so much yellow.
Just give it time, Bridget. Give it time.
I'm sure a nuclear bomb will go off here too, because they're just going off everywhere.
Right.
I'm from Florida originally, and I moved out west when I was a teenager. And one of the things I missed the most was the greenery. So I do appreciate all of the greenery and like scrub woods and such that we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And the cinematography is beautiful, like the long shots of the boats going down the river and stuff.
Yes.
That stuff is all beautiful.
The aerial shot of Ben running into the shipping containers, I thought that was pretty phenomenal too, where we got to see what looks like either I'm leaning more towards the Savannah port because that's where they're filming, but it might be what they're depicting as Louisiana. I was going to give you the exact place, but who gives a shit, honestly. But there were some good
really
shots
enjoyed,
in this episode.
I mean, as weird as the shipyard scenes were, 'cause they were unusual, I did really enjoy like kind of those close-ups of Sam as she's running where they're like kind of staying with her and then it's like panning to all of the crates and stuff behind her. I really enjoyed those shots. I thought they were really good.
Well, the claustrophobic nature of them being there too.
Yeah.
They filmed it I thought quite well to kind of give you
because
that
that was
sense.
like when they're running in there, that is the fear that you have, right? Like you don't know where you're going and you're gonna get stuck. How are you gonna get out of there?
Hence the panic too.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said earlier when we were talking about when Daniel said that they just dumped him in the swamp because he was useless. Well, we talked about why Wendell hasn't shown up or anything, and if they found Daniel old and useless, what do you think they would think about Wendell?
Right. That's kind of what I was saying about him in the other episode.
It also makes me think that Padre did, because remember they told Morgan that not as many people were on the rafts as you thought. Well, I believe all those people were on the rafts. and Padre just dumped them somewhere, and then told everybody that, oh, they just didn't show
They
up
didn't
on
make
the
it,
rafts. Yeah.
just like Daniel.
But um, so that would explain why we have not seen Wendell. And if they don't have Wendell, then Sarah wasn't gonna stick around. So I'm sure that's why Sarah hasn't shown back up either.
Right. And that might not mean that she's and he are dead, by the way. At any point in time in the universe, they might show up again. Who knows? But let's go to something specific that Daniel says, and I think I liked it a lot because it shines a light on season 7, the season 7 version of him. Memory issues that aren't present aside, I like that he mentioned Charlie. I like that he mentioned that he had to break his promise because he was forced to and not be there for her. But along with that, of course, they can't elaborate too much. And it's quite apparent there's just no way that Charlie could have made it. She was already in a fragile state. I like the fact that he, in addition to that, because of the resolution that he and Luciana had, he mentioned that he was going to keep his promise to be there for Luciana as well, and he couldn't keep that promise either. I like that he went, the writers, and he went out of his way to mention that, because I thought that was a very important bookend to what could have been a potentially not so great resolution near the end of season 7, where she basically lied to him to get him to see Charlie at the end.
Well, I was
To
really
reinforce
happy
that point.
that he also mentioned Ophelia. There were two
Yeah.
really obvious nods to previous seasons in this, and it was the Naomi thing at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then the
Madison.
mention of Ophelia, which I really appreciated. And I did, yeah, it was like it was nice to hear him say that he wanted to keep his promise not only to Charlie but also to Luciana, because it was just, yeah, you didn't think he was gonna like recover from what had happened between them, which almost I kind of forgot about, because
Just like the time jump, in a sense. It's
what
important.
even happened. But
I mean, the reunion between June and Madison was also disappointing. It was so low key. Like, I would think you'd be a little Naomi. Like that's it. Like, you thought this woman was dead 10 years, which, I mean, June at least had the files ahead of time, right? So I can get her, but for Madison just turn over and be like, "Oh, Naomi, like, you haven't seen this woman in 10 years. You thought she was dead, and here she shows up, and you're just like, oh, Naomi."
Well, I mean, if she could
it was
live
just
past
kind
the
of
fire.
underwhelming.
I
It was
see what
just
you're
kind of
saying.
underwhelming.
I see what you're saying. I think the
'Cause
circumstances made that
didn't
possible,
they
though.
didn't give us an Alicia and Madison reunion. They didn't give us a Charlie and Madison reunion. So they give us June and Madison, and it's like, yeah.
it might as well have been like a head nod. Like,
Yo, sup?
So you
Sup,
survived.
Naomi?
You survived. Word.
That's right.
We're both
Christopher
blondes that
Gonzalez
survived.
brought up they mentioned LA being bombed, which they
Right.
did.
And Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good call. Yeah, they'd mentioned that.
Project Cobalt. Right. No, but I want to go back to Daniel for just a second, because I like where this theme is going. We're talking about a father who had lost children, essentially. I mean, Luciana is quite older, but it's the idea of losing a child. Madison losing a child. June losing a child. Morgan losing a child. And here are children who lost parents, whether by force or circumstances beyond their control, that sort of situation. I like that this is coming to a head. I like that this writing, at the very least, on a broad sense, is trying to pit these two concepts together, and how June says it best, I think it was, to Dove, when she says, you can choose, this is found family, #found family. In this world, you can choose who you consider family, and it's your chance to start over again. It's that little nugget of what we know from the universe. But so in a broad sense, I like the momentum the show at least is having when it comes to certain themes. Like, maybe the dialogue and some of the specifics, totally valid. It's something that we have to do. We have to pick apart. But I do like overall where this is going in terms of parents losing children, children losing parents, and what that means and how these two themes collide. as it pertains to the characters that we followed for the past 8 seasons, more or less. So I think there's something to what they're trying to do at the very least. And there's something sweet to it. Like, and Daniel, if I can't, obviously I can't have any more children, or I don't know, who knows what the future holds, but at least I can get these parents back to their children. Like my job, my promises couldn't be kept, but I can keep their promise to get back to their kids. And I like that. I like what he's trying to do, finding purpose in the world. But it kind of goes back to the last episode where Adrian says to June, well, what are you living for? And June has to figure that out now. And we don't know. We still don't know where she's at mentally, 100%. They get a bomb drop about these kids being PADRE, and I don't know where she's at as a result of this, too. So I don't know how much darker she can get.
What's she gonna cut off next?
Shrike's hair. Oh, haircut.
Oh, perfect segue into
Thank you
something that
so
was brought
much.
that was brought to my attention this weekend. A certain someone giggled their way across our bedroom to show me a picture on their phone, to which I woke up someone because I was laughing so hard about. Dave, did you know that if you look at a picture of Shrike dead on, that it looks exactly the same as you in your afro wig?
Me? Me?
Yes, they're the same.
There might be a reason for that.
You were basically cosplaying haircut this last weekend,
Okay.
and you didn't know, but it's the same.
So what's interesting about what you just said was Maya Eshet. Maya Eshet is Israeli. And so there might be something to that. So you can hear it.
It's more about the wig, Dave, but sure.
Yeah. Also, I used to have that hair. Just want you to. I used to have that haircut.
I did. I
lot
did
of
enjoy
gel.
the accent. She's got a very unique accent, and so I did enjoy hearing you. You know, she's trying to like act out of it, but you can kind of hear.
You can definitely hear it
on
this episode.
certain words. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because she sounds. I mean, if you want a similar accent but a lot more harsh, it's like what's her name from Wonder Woman? Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, Gal Gadot is like that too, but except way more harsh. If Gal Gadot tries, maybe she could sound like Maya Eshet, but no, I don't think so. But that's funny as fuck. Maya Eshet and me and my which now we have to put a picture of me in the wig next to Maya Eshet.
Include it. Yep.
There we go. In the blog.
Dead
of course.
on.
That's where we
Dead
put all
on.
the good shit. Who said that to you though? Oh, is that some shall remain nameless or?
Shall remain nameless unless they want to take credit for it. So I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it.
So the caption for this one's gonna be who wore it better. She did. I'm just gonna say it out loud. I was sus on how I looked at the party, but we won't talk about that.
I don't know.
We won't talk about that. Anyway,
We'll save that for another video. But I just needed to segue into that one. Okay, can we please talk about this ridiculous notion that they need a different leader?
okay, yep.
Can we
fine.
talk about this for a minute? Okay. So
not the commander Salazar. No, he's not the leader.
No, he's already a leader, but apparently not the leader they need. Neither is Madison. At first I was really angry about this whole thing because I was like, Daniel's a leader already. What are they talking about? But then I realized that the reason that they're looking for a leader is not really a leader. The reason they're looking for a leader is because they're looking for someone to connect with the kids and be able to convince them.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not really a leader. They're just looking for someone to help convince the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it not be Ren?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was thinking the same thing.
Why would it be anybody other than Ren?
This
is so dumb.
episode,
So
she shines.
You're gonna get. I
And
know.
Bev.
You're gonna get the person who kidnapped all of them to convince them. Okay, yeah, all right, that's gonna work. You're gonna get someone who's experimenting on them to convince them. That's not gonna work either. Sorry. So, and now you're gonna pick
A complete
some
stranger.
literally a schmo that nobody knows. That's who you're gonna pick. You're not gonna pick the girl that grew up with them. That's like already turned against them. Come on.
Who steps in the line of fire to prevent
Come
Hawk from
on.
gunning down Daniel? I have to admit, like, you feel that Baby Mo, I'm gonna call her Baby Mo for obvious reasons. She's a lot like Morgan, and she'll do the Morgan thing, and it's kind of refreshing that it's not Morgan. Oh,
Yes.
did I just blow your
It
mind?
is.
I think
is.
she's doing a great job. I mean, look, she's
It's
being written
nice.
that way, but I think it's really cool to see that the voice of a child coming up from the din of adults, almost adults, arguing with each other about this little thing in the middle, and then she's coming out front, the very thing that the parents are trying to get, and the very thing the teenagers trust. They trust Mo. They have a relationship. So you're gonna shoot me, Hawk? I just like it. I like what you're saying. I'm 100% agreeing with you.
I was thinking either her or Dove. Even Dove's a little bit older, could be recognized as a leader too. But Ren really, the actress. I'm gonna say the actress. I think stepped it up this episode. I did feel a little bit differently about the acting this episode.
Okay.
But the character in general too. I really liked where the character is going. She, she has this resilience, like her mother, and a very solid.
Wait, who's her
compass,
mom
just
again?
Like her dad.
Sorry.
Isaac and Rachel would be very proud of their
Isaac
daughter.
and Rachel.
Well, we're getting more
And
of the
so is
like
Grace and Morgan.
we're getting more of like the Judith vibe, right? Like
Yeah.
like I'm tough, and even though I'm small, like I can do what I put my mind to. You're getting
do
more of that.
things.
But I like that it's not like Judith in the sense that, like, okay, Judith is obviously capable. Mo is
Judith's
capable,
like an exceptional badass.
but she's using her voice. She's not using her.
No, I said
know?
Judith. Judith is an
Oh.
exceptional badass.
But that's kind of like why I'm like, well, it's good that they're not replicating that. They're not making it the same. I like that she's using her words like Morgan would. Also, I mean, it's her essentially her father, but
No, please don't start giving speeches like Morgan.
she
It's not gonna
is.
rally anyone.
But they're very short speeches because her vocabulary is.
No, she's like, "Come on, bitch, shoot me."
Yeah,
You
but
shoot
like
me?
in a
Fuck
nice
you.
kid who doesn't say bitch.
No, she said it just like that.
She's
I
okay.
quoted-
Just
that was
like
a direct
just like Shrek at the end, it said, "I'm gonna race 1,000 walkers on these kids. Fuck them." Yeah, that's what she said. That's what she said at
That
the end
was
of the
her
episode. Yeah,
The amazing accent that Bridget admires.
that's Maya Eshe.
Yeah,
She's Israeli,
yeah.
so that's how they talk.
It's beautiful.
Okay, I wore it better. Anyway. I like that it's not Dove either, though. I like that Dove is conflicted. I like that she's messed up about this shit too. Look, as much as we can rail on kids acting, RJ Grimes, they're doing okay. They're hanging in there.
You have such a vendetta against RJ. Okay, can I read some of
I'm
these
so
comments? 'Cause
scared.
There is some hilarious stuff that is coming up here.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Thomas says all haircuts are precious. Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey,
Christopher Gonzalez says time to reboot World Beyond with Mo and Dove as the leads. Ben says maybe
Acceptable.
Heath can be the new leader. Kira says
Fuck
Heath.
Wait,
Heath,
I'm done with that.
Heath should have been Padre.
and immediately taken out. Anyway.
And then
sorry, Heath.
Thomas says the writers could never replicate that. Ben says PPP stands for Padre.
David Carranza laughs.
And then Christopher Gonzalez says or personal pan pizza, which
Free coupon.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they were.
Benjamin Scottford also said, imagine she keeps tranquilizing people and they just wake up with the worst haircut they've ever had.
Acceptable. They'll never come back. They'll abandon their kids right away. I won't let them see me like this. No. There can only be one haircut. It's the Highlander. High
see why?
sculptor.
The Hairlander.
Hairlander. Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you.
It was
Charity.
right there, Dave.
It's right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why?
I want to see something that
Why?
might. I want to see something that might please Charity that I caught was that June does shoot the gun with her right hand and the middle finger. I zoomed in on it 2 times.
I said
pretty cool.
taking June's finger really didn't slow her down.
Yeah. I mean,
At
she
all.
missed a couple of shots. you got to give it to her. But she got him in the end, and more power to her. I thought she was going to go southpaw, but no.
She was looking real tough in this episode. So
Damn. But also, in a sense, I like that she was listening. In a sense, I like that she was just taking this all in, kind of like. I mean, Madison obviously is doing the thing where she's like, Padre, tell him the truth. And June's just kind of like sitting there. And I kind of like that because of where we were left off by the end of this episode. Broken again. So when she finally says to Ben, "You're a monster," that's all she can say for doing this. I'm watching her. I'm very paying close attention to her. I really like it. With her sad hair.
The director of this episode, whose name I cannot remember,
Oh, I
is
didn't.
also the director of Cindy Hawkins
Oh,
and Sunny Boy.
who was that? I made
Oh.
note of it last time too, and I can't remember who it was. Was it shoot, Nazreen?
Ron something. It's Ron.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have to go back to the blog for that one.
something.
okay,
Doc-
can I mention that when they got off the boats, when it was like Madison and June get off the boats, they're being taken by Padre, and they get off the boats, and Daniel and his group come along. I loved that June and Madison had that like shared look and kind of smiled, like, yes, Daniel would do this.
Coming in the clinch.
I loved it so much. It wasn't quite as good as the cup, but it was
No,
close.
The yerba
it's just
mate
that
cup?
cracked
Yeah.
me up.
Yeah, the cup really got me. It was so funny.
I think
So now they need to. June needs to take them all back to her cabin where she's got the extensive cache of guns in her floorboards.
good point to bring up about that episode. Well, I want to mention that Thomas is right. Ron Underwood is the director for this episode. That's correct. And Spinelli was right about that. Was agreeing too. Very cool. Yeah, I did like this. I like the way. I like some of the direction of this episode too. Like as much of the. Was that says, "Hey guys." I think that's what's his name? Fear Continues here.
I think it's Fear Continues
Yeah.
here. Michael.
Yeah. So yeah, because he speaks Chinese. I would say. Anyway, Emily says it's crazy that Fear's 8A finale time slot got moved. Yes. Okay. So that's something that I wanted to say at the top too that I forgot was that I don't know about being moved, but obviously the Fear the Walking Dead mid-season finale was probably supposed to be at the 9 p.m. slot, but they're moving Dead City to that slot, which might mean
So
that
we just don't know what's gonna happen then.
well,
That's
no,
all.
we're not. Who knows what's going to happen with the?
It means that the
it's either 10
mid-season
o'clock or
finale might not be the episode that they thought it was going to be.
it might be
initially.
several episodes. It might be several reasons. It could be they could play it at 10. They could play it at 8. Who knows? But they didn't. All they announced was that Dead City was going to take that slot. They didn't say what was going to happen for the Fear the Walking Dead mid-season finale. So thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, by default it gets moved, Chris Gonzalez, but we don't know if it's a different day or if it's a different time, etc. So
Cetri.
etc.
Read all
Read all
about
about
it.
it.
Like, who
I mean-
are you?
It won't really matter because I'll be watching it on Thursday. Eddie.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Ooh, spicy. Anyway, so another detail I kind of liked was that we do get a little bit of insight on what Padre was supposed to be about also, and that was not just a harbor from the apocalypse storm, but they were meant to, with those shipping containers, seed the world again, to be this reconstruction plan post-apocalypse. Like, let's build these communities back up so we can get on board and get cracking. One of the details I really liked was in the moment that what's his name? General was it Krennic is done for. You look to the left and you look to the right. One says polar. One of the shipping containers says polar, and the other says desert. So they have contingencies for all different types of environments.
Yeah.
And I don't
saw
think
that.
they're limiting it to just the United States. I think they're thinking world rebuilding sort of situation.
Which is it's interesting too because in that scene where he's talking to the kids before he leaves on the boat, the general, he's talking about how he felt like he was left a message from their mother,
Right.
right, with the binoculars and seeing the woodpecker that is like they have families and they like help to protect each other. So if his goal was rebuilding to protect families, how interesting that that is exactly the opposite of what his children are doing.
Well, obviously, what he did didn't work.
Yeah, because they're dum-dums.
they get
Dad needs his binoculars or he'll die.
Well,
he was
Okay,
so
that was a
Buster
self-fulfilling
Bluth.
prophecy.
He was like the most Buster Bluth character I've ever seen on a Walking Dead
which is
show.
Buster from Arrested
What did I yell?
Development for context.
Bird walked to my pillow.
Arrested Development, folks. In case you didn't know, sometimes
Watch
you
it
don't.
if you haven't, because it's
Right.
hilarious.
Smoke them if you got them. But
Buster should be part of this universe because he also lost a hand.
he's one of our heroes.
True.
He's the hero.
Lucille.
Oh man, Lucille. Rest in peace, actress who plays Lucille.
Jessica Walters.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's so much to go. We're not pre-recording. We're live right now, and I'm just faltering right now.
I don't have anything else to say about this episode. I said it all.
Well, we
I aired my grievances.
do have to talk about the birds, I suppose. Should we talk about the birds that were mentioned in this
I
episode?
guess.
And the bees? Or just the birds?
No, fuck the
Just
bees.
the birds.
God damn it, Rachel. Anyway, just kidding. So we mentioned woodpecker just now. Woodpecker appears in different mythologies.
Dwight's name.
Sorry, that should have been Dwight's name.
name.
Well, especially the mid. Was it the mid-spotted?
The red-headed woodpecker should have been Dwight's fucking.
Yeah, it was the
name.
mid. It was the mid spotted.
Yeah,
was the
you'll-
one they were looking at.
You'll like this because you might be right, Sharon. It's in different mythologies. The woodpecker appears, and that's one of it's the Norse god of thunder, Thor. It's the sound Mjolnir makes, so the pecking of the bird against the wood. The Roman god of war, Mars. So there's a bit of that military war, that reference. And that represents actually not war itself, but the fertilization of the earth with manure. I don't know. Listen, I don't make... Anyway, but
I'm
if you
not
got to
gonna
grow
say it.
the
I was going to,
seeds,
but
you got to do the manure. I don't know. Celts believe that it's a sign of rain. Native Americans believe that the woodpecker represents friendship and happiness, which is unlikely pairings. I like this one a little bit more, and it goes into the story of the coyote and the woodpecker. The coyote sees the woodpecker and sees its red head, especially the mid-spotted, right? Which is an unusual version of it. And he sees the woodpecker and he says, "Oh, your hair is on fire." And he says, "Yeah, I was born like this." The coyote wants to be like the woodpecker. So he takes a bunch of ashen twigs and puts it on its head, and it starts to light up. And he goes, I'm a coyote and I was born like this." And the woodpecker goes, "No, coyote, I'm your friend. Don't do that." The coyote says, "No, but I was born like this." And soon enough, the hair on his head twinges and goes on fire, and the coyote goes straight into the river and he tries to douse it. It's the idea of unlikely pairings becoming friends, and yet they can't be. So I like the metaphor of that for these two factions meeting, these parents meeting the children, in a sense. In the zodiac, the Native American zodiac, they are caretakers and kind-hearted. No. In the Bible, it represents God's existence and might, specifically because of the ability for the woodpecker to peck the wood with its head and not have any long-term effects. There's something about the physiology I thought was kind of interesting. There are other birds in this episode. Hawk, right? Oh, actually, let's go to crane. Now, what's interesting about the last name Krennic is that it is actually crane in German. Whoa, what happened to Bridget? So yeah, so it's Crane. So Ben is Crane, essentially. Their last name, surname means Crane in German. And the crane represents grace, devotion, faithfulness, travel, open-mindedness, and it gets better, aspiration, longevity, immortality, and transformation. So there's like a path here. So there's, like in a sense, if you look at grace, it's like, well, let's recover from this and with grace and try to make something better. Devotion to Padre, let's say, or their vision, faithfulness in their vision, travel. So the idea that maybe they will seed the world in their own stupid way. Open-mindedness, well, one can only hope. Aspiration, aspiring to be something else. Longevity. So now we're starting to go into, well, what does this therapy mean? This radioactive therapy or the radiation therapy. Immortality. Well, maybe we can live forever. Who knows? And transformation. So that's the one that gets me the most, is that do you think Ben might, considering the fact that he might have been responsible for his dad's death, well, he most likely was the reason. I mean, who knows? I don't know if their father would have made it this way or that, by the way. It wouldn't have mattered. The binoculars aside, I don't think it would have mattered. But do you think that he carries that burden with him and that he just does what Shrike tells him to do? Do you think that he might come around?
I think he definitely carries the burden of his dad's death with him. But
Yeah. Whether or not we'll see.
I mean, isn't that everybody in the universe carries some kind of guilt for something they've done.
Yeah.
But they're not all baby stealing.
They've survived this long. They've done some shit.
Yeah, I look at June when I immediately thought of June when I saw what Ben had done, essentially, like carrying the weight of trying to save people and not being able to. It's heartbreaking. So I don't know. I'm waiting to see if this does something. One of them has to waver or something like that. I don't know. Thomas said, haha, Dave said pecker. Thomas from Harris
said Dave cameo is the bee hummingbird, the world's tiniest bird.
Is there a bee hummingbird?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should have looked that up. To know that what I'll be. And Strand says Strand will also be the peacock. I wonder, actually. Emily says that's a hugely insightful question, way more so than anything written lately on the show. Oh yeah, no, and I think the show might ask that question. What he's been carrying for so long. I don't know. I'm curious to see if they even get into it with how little time they have, actually.
I mean, they're not known for making their villains extremely
villainy.
Or deep, right? Like we add depth to them because we all kind of put our own little head canons to them. But Martha, villain. Virginia, as much as we love Virginia,
and put stories on her, we did.
As much as we love Virginia, she wasn't a particularly deep character because we put our own explanations on why she was doing stuff. The show never gave her any explanations other than Dakota.
She had so much potential too for story.
It's not it's not the show has never been super good at putting deep, thoughtful, depth villains with depth on there. So I don't really think I don't think we'll get much more of anything. I believe this is like it.
It could be.
This is what we're gonna get of Padre.
It could be
the explanation we're gonna get.
Let's move on to Hawk though. Hawk represents intelligence, aka they're very intelligent birds. They use tools, they actually plan, and they strategize. They also represent independence, meaning they're not social birds. Though they do mate for life, they part after raising chicks and come back. They go out and hunt individually usually, and then come back and have more chicks. So it's weird. They mate for life, but they're okay with their independence. It's like me and my wife. It's fine. Adaptability. They can hunt anywhere and eat anything. So they can be in any environment. Hawk, by the way, is one of the Praetorians. He's the lead Praetorian. Goes, "You're lying, Dove." And it's like, oh, stop being with them. Be with us. Why are you betraying us? Padre doesn't owe you shit. Messages. I hate when they say messages because they never really explain until you read further down. They decompartmentalize and regain objectivity. So meaning they they're able to see the big picture, essentially. And clairvoyance / spiritual awareness. Now, they have really, really good eyesight. They have their eyesight, they can see from basically 100 miles away their prey. But in addition to that, when you see a hawk, it represents seeing beyond the material and seeing the spiritual, like the spiritual realm. Their eyesight is so good, they can see beyond. So I don't see that for this kid, but maybe. I don't know. The show can surprise us. You know, clock is right, you know, twice a day. Broken clock. Emily says they haven't really had many Fear the Walking Dead villains that weren't flat and one-dimensional. Thomas says there will be a 10-minute monologue where a villain explains everything, which does bother me. Show don't tell. Emily says, and then gets an abrupt, unsatisfying death. Aw, ba 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 ba, and David Carranza cry emojis.
Of course, that was The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that was The Walking Dead. Yeah.
Leah.
Well, even Ginny, to a certain extent, even though you kind of wanted it, you did want that story. I made a whole story up about her being John Dory Sr.'s long-lost daughter. I mean, come on, man. That was a great spin. I mean, according to me, but I thought it was great, so that's where we're going with it. That episode was called...
Go write your fanfic, Dave.
I did, and I put it in a blog, and Rachel and I talked about it, didn't we? I think it was just me and you. I forget. The Dory Dilemma?
Probably.
No, something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good spin on something. I thought it was pretty awesome. Like, tied up so many loose ends.
You put a lot of thought into it.
I did. I wrote it all out.
I got mad respect for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't often go off on a yarn that listen, didn't have to be true, but I kind of liked where it was going. Emily says, lol. Watch it, Emily. Watch it. Anyway. And then there was Dakota Dilemma after that. So anyway, we'll just keep going. Actually, no, Dakota Dilemma came first. No, that episode was called Finding John Dory Sr. That's what that one was called. Anyway.
Basically, Dave's written 2 fanfics, and they're called the Dory
Yeah.
Dilemma and the Dakota Dilemma.
Hey, the Dakota Dilemma.
He likes the word dilemma.
I didn't know that, but I accurately predicted Dakota's death in that episode. So suck it, Bridget. First time I get to say that ever.
The David Dilemma.
Where David goes on a yarn, and we should keep moving on. Ooh. Yeah. I don't know if I have anything else, but
Nah.
what do you think about Shrike's proposal on releasing thousands of walkers on the kids to basically conceal the island? They know the parents know where the island is. That's the reason why she's doing this, and she's letting them loose so that they'll basically fall into a trap, and the kids are going to have to get themselves out of it. Are they moving on from the kids? Is what I'm saying.
She's like, if I can't have these kids, no one can. I'm just gonna kill them all.
She's really showing her CRM right now. You know what I mean?
I was getting ready to say, I did say that, the CRM makes a practice of using walkers to overtake cities and whatnot, and that's kind of what she's doing here.
I mean, I knew it from her haircut, but it's making it clearer, you know?
She and Jadis have the same hairstylist.
A lawnmower?
It's me. I cut their hair.
Oh, don't take credit for that.
I never want you to cut
baby.
my hair.
No, baby girl, don't do it.
No,
Don't do it.
Rachel, you're so much better than that.
No,
Well,
stop.
here's the thing
No,
about things.
stop.
Don't take that bullet. We
They
love
asked
you
me
too
for a
much.
cut.
They ask you for that cut. I gave them exactly what they
You
wanted.
fucking did Sam's too, didn't you?
Yep, she slapped that olive oil and vinegar soaked bowl right on his head.
Butter.
Yep.
He had
I
to
had
squeeze.
just gotten done eating a salad, and I'm like, this will work.
He just kept slipping his head between the railings. So we had to butter his head to get out. So we just left it that way.
I mean, he wouldn't sit still. So
Like
I'm
an
like, this is
80s
what you get.
80s sitcom. Okay, so there was one thing I wanted to bring up. Lois, you can go to ko-fi.com/squawkingdead if you wanted to, but I'll let you know. Don't worry. It's actually right on the page. It's right down there. It's somewhere there. This is. By the way, you could tip us during the stream if you want to show your love and support, and it'll show up on the screen. You'll see Nicholas say thank you to Glenn.
Thomas, So you're really going to bed?
That's what it'll show.
Night.
It'll show a GIF, an animated GIF. It's a GIF.
No, it's not, Dave.
Anyways,
No,
Emily says,
no,
what's the point of concealing eye for the parents with the walkers if there won't be no kids to use as blackmail to defend it? It'd take an escape plan at that point. Yeah, I think that's the point.
Ben says, Dave, after talking about birds for 10 minutes, I don't often go off on a yarn.
right?
The magic of editing.
Ben,
Audio
thank
podcasts
you.
will not have to deal with that, Benjamin.
You summed it
Did you
all
hear-
up.
Did you hear the cackle coming out of us after he said that? We were all like,
Yep. Because David is at least self-aware.
This is true. This is true.
I did want to bring up one more thing, and it's probably going to be the only thing I got left, and that's June.
This is like the fourth
Buckle
time
in,
you
kids,
said
we
I
got
want to
15
bring
more
up one
minutes.
more thing.
No, I tracked the last episode, and it was really just one more thing, and this is the only one I'm saying one more thing. June essentially says to somebody fart? No.
Yes, yeah.
June repeats to Madison what Morgan had said to Alicia at the stadium. She says literally, I left you once at the stadium and you saved us all. I will not leave you now. I will be there until the end. I liked that. It was a reflection of what Morgan said to Alicia at the stadium as well. So I stepped aside for your brother. I will not step aside for you. I like that little callback to season 4. And I like what that means for June and Madison. But there's something about, I like how you can also tie that to something that we had said at the end of season 7 that you guys railed on me for, but I thought it was relevant. And that was when Ava decides to go after Odessa. Morgan is like, don't do it. It's your death. You're going to die. Madison too. And he just lets her go. And I agreed with the decision. Obviously, you didn't have to convince me. I just thought it was kind of sucked because you knew it was going to come. You knew it was going to happen. There is an element of that in this episode. Morgan and Madison stepped aside for Ava. And she died. And I think it's relevant in this episode because, yeah, Madison is responsible. Madison and Morgan are responsible for Ava's death. Ava Sanderson, Odessa's mother, just to tie that up in a bow. And on top of it being a callback and on top of it kind of threading to this episode about parents meeting children and what it means to not give up on somebody, when these kids are told that their parents gave up on them, there's something to at least this part of the writing that I kind of enjoy, at least on a kind of underlying level. Like what it means to not give up on somebody. So what do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't believe they're responsible for Ava's death. I'm sorry, I got stuck on that.
I know Ava is
Yeah,
ultimate responsible for Ava's
I
death.
agree.
Sure.
No, I believe Padre is ultimately responsible for Ava's death.
Sure.
because They're the reason she was out doing what she was doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can put the blame on a lot of people. I mean, you could even put the blame on Ava. She's responsible for her own actions, even though she could have taken the information and not done that. But people are going to feel what they're going to feel. Morgan might feel something about that had he been there, and he's not. But Madison is there, and that's yet another reason why she feels like she can't stop Shrike and Ben. Sorry, Shrike and Crane, whatever. So I just thought about it. I just thought it was a little interesting. Oh, Emily says, I don't know about all of that. Well, I don't know about Hall, but I enjoy the bird tangent. Oh, thank you. But y'all,
No, you guys stop telling him. Stop telling him you enjoy it.
more birds in
It's
the
just
next
gonna
episode.
keep going. And it was my idea in the beginning.
By the way,
and he's just taking it over because I'm lazy and I don't care.
I was going to do it anyway, but you didn't do it. So for the last few episodes. By the way, Praetorian is also bird imagery too, on top of carrion. Praetorians are the image of a bird, essentially. Bird guard. It's a Roman sentries, essentially. Praetorian guard. Sorry, I have to look it up to look at the exact meaning, but it's bird imagery.
When did they refer to someone as that?
The hawk is a Praetorian. They said, let's go to Praetorians.
She said, "Let's go get
the teenagers,
Praetorians."
essentially.
I thought she said the prefects.
Prefects? Was it? I think it was Praetorians, wasn't it?
She was talking about the boat.
Oh, you're right. It was prefects. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Wow.
I'm like,
But
They
I
should've
thought-
used
I thought
Praetorian.
heard-
I write
thought
this
heard
show.
Praetorian in there somewhere
I'm being
too.
gaslit super.
You're right.
hard.
No, you're right.
You said it was the boat.
I thought it was prefects.
I thought it was.
She
You
was
know what? I
referencing
even
the
wrote
boat when
prefects.
she said prefects.
I should have.
I mean, I thought I heard Praetorian in there somewhere too. So
Just because Daniel at one point's like, and we have your prefects.
Yeah, no, I never wrote Praetorian. Well, see, they should have been Praetorians. I should have written the show. One thing I'll claim.
You
finally.
should have written the show. You know
That's
what?
true.
Anybody should have written this show
No, Thomas. No, I did not say clitorian.
instead of just grabbing paper out of a jar and being like, "Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good line. Throw that in there."
I like how David Carranza says David is so insightful and eloquent. Talking
No,
about birth
no. This
certificates.
is what
I
I'm.
love
No,
him.
no, no.
He's adorable.
No. See, Carranza, stop. I'm gonna ask you, please stop.
Listen, the
Don't
public
do
has
it.
spoken. Except for
It was two
Benjamin.
people. Dave.
Except for
It was
Benjamin.
two
Benjamin, you're on my shit list.
Forever. This is what he does. This is
I'll
what he
forget.
does.
Don't worry.
This is
that's
what he
the
does.
same public that writes
Thousands
hundreds
of
of
people.
letters saying that they don't want to hear us
Thousands.
laughing.
Fear the
Thousands
Walking
of
Dead
people
seasons
have
4 through 8
complained.
are awesome.
Thousands of people
All
have
right.
complained about our laughing. Show me
Okay.
the receipts. Show
Well,
me the
folks,
receipts.
Let's.
Bye.
I don't know if there's anything else to say. So, well, actually, audience, think of something else to say while I look at my
No,
notes.
don't.
I don't
Good
really think
night.
there's anything else.
This seems like a good place to wrap up.
If there's any, sure.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Actually, and we
We're all
recorded.
tired and sick.
Yeah, well,
And also, there's nothing left to talk about.
yeah, I guess not.
They're resulting to
really hard,
Clotorians
I
over
could
and over again in the
think of
chat. So
Yeah.
I think it's time to go.
It's time to.
It's time to call this quits.
Yeah, we'll stay for the after show. We go
Is
into that.
Quit. Are you
Clitorians.
sure that's the word you want?
Do you think that? Do you think they might? That they? Because I know it was mentioned earlier in the chat that they rigged over Daniel's memory problems. But do you think that book has been closed, or do you think he still might be dealing with some of that?
I think it'll probably come up
again?
But
Do you
I'm
think that
too
might be-
hopeful.
Do you think that might be also why he's also not considered maybe possibly a leader? That he's the leader that they needed now, and that he's still kind of struggling.
I don't know.
I guess
Only
we'll see.
time will
I
tell,
think-
Dave. Only time will tell.
I think that the yerba mate or whatever it's called was just a easy, quick way for the writers to be like, okay, we don't have to worry about Daniel's mental illness anymore. All gone. He can move on and be a badass again. He had this magical drink in his cup, and now it's all good, and he'll be fine. And yeah, I don't think it's gonna come back again. I think that's it. 'Cause
Wow.
He said, I
Hmm.
have this drink that makes my mind better, and that is it. That's the address for it. That's how they're gonna address it.
I don't know if that's gonna be it, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see. You're right. You're right, Bridget. Not
I
sure
really
how-
hope.
said the
I
same
really
thing
hope
earlier.
that's not the case.
I know that's how we
really
feel,
hope
though.
I can tell you that's what's gonna happen.
Well, this show.
Why?
Maya Eshe talks like this. Really, I don't know. I'm Israeli.
You sound like Kermit. It's really Kermit.
What is happening?
All right. Good night, everybody.
If you like what you
Good night,
heard,
everybody.
hey guys, if you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawking-dead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us if Dave does really go on for on and on and on and on and on. Well, nobody's willing to stop him. After every episode, and if you really like what you've heard, head over to either kodishfi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead and just follow us for free. It'll let you know when we put our recording schedules up, as well as a whole host of other cool behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't post on social media. And if you feel inclined, you could tip us during the stream to support us and receive 30 days of supportive ad content via Ko-fi, or you can join a membership tier on either Ko-fi or Patreon. That will also show up during the stream if you join a membership tier right now. And you'll get instant access to our Discord, our unedited recording sessions, except for this one because we went live, and a whole host of other cool starter features. And if you are in the Whispers and Survivors tiers, you will get credits at the end of this episode, among whom are at RealRyanGM on Twitter, at ElizaJones71 on Instagram, and at JonesAJ6 on Twitter, or FanArtLindy, who you can find at ko-fi.com/FanArtLindy. And on to our Whispers tier members, we've got at J13 Voorhees and at Tyler Philip Cox on Instagram and Twitter. We've got at sandy.d.morrison on Facebook, at Aiden Atkin, who you can find on ko-fi.com/Aiden Atkin, and at judith.morton on Instagram. Thank you all for joining us. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by Cosmom09, Rachel Burt, Sharon D, a.k.a. Blazy Gardner, and Bridget. ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And Jaden says, it's free, everyone. Follow for free, goddammit. Take care. We'll see you real soon, and I hope we all get more mildly enjoyable episodes that might lead to some really cool moments, perhaps sort of like the second episode, for those who did enjoy it. And to the rest of you, hang in there. We'll be right there with you. And hopefully we'll get to talk about the camp and release the last 2 episodes we recorded on Fear the Walking Dead, saddest moments and favorite moments, as well as so many other things like our panel interviews.
Our panel
From the camp, one of which is interviewing the Ladies of Fear, a.k.a. Mo Collins, who plays Sarah Rabinowitz, and Colby Menifee, who plays Virginia, a.k.a. Ginny, on Fear the Walking Dead.
And they were hilarious.
Yeah, and Bridget and I got to interview both Washington and Wells Reapers from The Walking Dead, a.k.a. Robert Ethan McDowell and Robert Terrell Hayes. I like saying Terrell Hayes. I'm sorry. He's such a beautiful man. And that was really fun.
Both panels revealed a pretty cool behind-the-scenes story. So,
And
So there's
Robert
that.
Hayes was kind enough to join us at Christmas for our trivia party.
That's right.
For our trivia drive.
Right, Squawking Dead Trivia Charity Battle. That's right.
Yeah.
And he was incredible. He took the critiques like a champ, and we mentioned it on stage. He almost forgot that he participated. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but he's a wonderful, wonderful man with a wonderful, wonderful charity that you should look into, and you should watch that episode. And Benjamin was there too. We can't forget that he was in the trivia. He's in the audience right now. He's in the trivia battle as well. And so was Thomas. So was Thomas. You know,
Right. Yep,
for a little
Thomas
while
too.
at least.
well, keep your eyes open and your ears peeled
Plugged.
for something in the works. Probably pretty soon.
Probably in
so.
another month. We'll, at the rate this is going, folks.
Sometime soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Good night, everybody.
Quit it, Dave.
I have no idea what you're
Quit
talking
it.
about.
Quit it.
Oh, it's time for
Rob.
bed
Quit
for
it.
Rachel. It's
Quit
bedtime
it.
for Rachel.
You know what? Dave has to go because he's got a CRM meeting because he's got a bad wig.
There's a haircut under here. Anyways, good night, everybody. We'll see you real soon, and I'm sorry that we I don't know. I'm not sorry for anything. Fuck them kids. Good night, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Oh,
Bye.
Aggressive David is aggressive. Yeah, that's right. Well, what, you want me to quit this recording?